And I'm pretty excited because I'm a big Top fan from UCSD. I remember watching him play again last season, and he did a fantastic job representing them. Now, Polar, as well, a very talented player. This is going to be on GSL Whirlwind SE.
Yeah, definitely a big map here. Spawning in the bottom right position on this map is going to be the green Terran player representing UC Irvine. Wants to keep that train rolling. It is Polar.
And spawning in the upper left-hand corner as the red Terran, we have UCSD's Top.
Yep, so we do have another TVT, Shane. This time they're a little further apart than Star Station. Of course, that's my subtle sarcasm here. I mean, cross positions on Whirlwind is absolutely massive distance here. So, barring any ridiculous exceptions, we're going to be in for a longer game here than that last one.
Yeah, I mean, what did they call it? Back in the day, it's TVT is the chess match. You know, it just can go on forever. And it seems like our players here are having a little bit of confusion about the map choice, but they're here now, so there isn't any going back necessarily on that.
Yeah, so let's just talk a little bit more about these teams. I mean, they have such a rich history, and I've only joined the CSL a couple years ago to play, and then now I've been actively commentating. But even as far back as I go, and I'm about to graduate, I can't even come close to scratching the surface of how long these guys have been playing. They have a pretty fierce rivalry, and the UC San Diego coordinator was talking about it, and he feels like overall through all of the seasons they have sort of a 50-50 record with Irvine. But he talked a little trash, and he said he feels like UC San Diego wins, quote, when it matters.
Whoa.
Yeah, like in the season 2 playoffs they beat him 3-2, and in the season 3 playoffs they beat him 3-1. So, I mean, what do you think, Shane? Is this a situation when it matters? Or, you know what I mean? I mean, it's qualifier number 3. It's not last chance.
Right.
But, I mean, round of 8, qualifier number 3, you're looking at a scenario here where you have one more chance. And when you have big question marks in the air, like, is University of Washington going to even qualify this time around? You don't want to leave it to that dreaded qualifier number 4, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, especially the format that we have here now at the CSL with these different qualifying rounds. I think it always matters, to be honest. When you're vying for a spot to go to the finals, every opportunity counts. So, that's just a fun little, trash talk. It's like, well, we win when we need to. It's like, well, you need to at least win one.
Right.
That's the way it works. But, all these guys have just played such good StarCraft for so long that, I'm just interested to see if they'll be able to do it at all, because, like you said, you have to win at least one, right?
Yeah, you gotta make it, man. You gotta get to that round of 2. I mean, obviously you don't have to beat. It's just the top 2 teams of each qualifier. This is, of course, guys, the 3rd qualifier. The 4th one will be coming up pretty soon here. Just taking a quick look at this game so we don't let it get too far away from us. Top looks like he's going for a bit more of a macro focus build here, getting his command center. He's going to be able to get, he's actually mixing a Reaper and a Marine at the same time, using that reactor in an interesting way, I would say. So he's going to be able to get that scouting information. Now we do see Polar actually grabbing his CC on the low ground, so just a tiny bit behind his opponent. So actually, we do see very similar builds come out here from these guys.
Yeah, and especially because, they identified very quickly that this is cross positions on a very large map. You don't totally have the comfort to go ahead and do something like that. Go for an economic style build. Any pressure that's going to come, if it doesn't succeed, it's going to put you way ahead, even if you do this. And I like what Top's doing here. Top putting his Marines out here on the forward ramp, now reinforcing it with a bunker. So already getting his natural ready, but same exact situation. It's almost a mirror build as far as the way the defense is going down here. But Hellions now joining the mix for UCI's Polar.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Another fast armory coming out.
Yeah, it's going to be a Hellbat drop for 100% sure. On this map, the Hellbat drop is pretty popular because there is that mentality of, no 15 rush kind of thing, or, gentlemen's...
Big game hunters kind of...
Yeah, gentleman's 15 sort of thing. Tip your hat and say, hey, man, I'm not going to attack you if you don't attack me. But on a map like Whirlwind, it's a big main base, and you can kind of boost in with those medevacs. I'm expecting 2 medevacs, 4 Hellbats in total here. And we've seen this build in pro play actually as well. And even if you're prepared, Shane, even if you have Marines, even if you're just like, okay, I know this is coming, if you have good micro and boost those medevacs correctly, you can just do terrible, terrible damage regardless.
Oh, for sure, Chris. Here's UCI Polar now. 4 Hellions at the front. And you think he's just going to run him by?
Well, it looks like he's gearing up for a multi-pronged attack, so I don't expect him to shift these Hellions into Hellbats because he can't. So look at, he's going to poke up here, and when he does eventually drop these Hellbats, no, he's going for it anyway. He's just going to go straight up into the natural. He's going to try and kill some SEVs, and it looks like it's not going to be the most cost-effective trade for our UCI Terran, and honestly, Shane, I expected him to keep those there and then drop some Hellbats into the main base. But maybe that's not in his agenda at all. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
No, I agree. I mean, right there, you can even have these 3 SCVs here deciding, nah, that didn't go so well. Let's go back and let's refocus our efforts on stuff back at home. But the trade here, 4 units killed, that being the 4 Hellions there, 2 workers killed, so 400 minerals to 50. Not really the trade-off you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, losing 6 Hellions for really not that much. Top is now enjoying a little bit of a lead here. Not too much in workers, but I mean, just an overall supply units. He's just looking pretty solid here. He's getting a 3rd command center, so he's feeling very comfortable right now. We do see a 2nd factory now coming down for Polar and a 3rd one as well, so it looks like we're going to see full-out mech play from Polar, and I'm actually a little bit excited, man. I feel like I just don't see mech, and should be a treat here.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, like you said, full mech here from Polar. 3 factories going to be going. And you know you still have the starport here with the reactor, so it's making units 2 at a time, medevacs and Vikings. Is he going to have the gas to support all this? That's my only question.
Yeah, I mean, if he just focuses a lot on getting a ton of Hellbats in the beginning, he should be okay. Actually getting a very +2 mech weapons, but here let's focus our attention on this Hellbat drop. He does have 4 ready to go, and like I was saying, this is something that you see on Whirlwind. The difference though is that the timing is way later than you would normally see it. Of course, you got those initial 6 Hellions, and they didn't do that much damage, so these Hellbats really need to get something done. Otherwise, I mean, look at Top's production and supply. He's just skyrocketing ahead. So here we go. He's going to Vin Diesel straight into the main base, and he should be able to kill those Marines. And look at how fast those go down. This is why a Hellbat drop is so strong. And Top already dropping in supply a bit and forced to evacuate the main with his SCVs here. The reinforcements from Top are coming, and a nice stim. The Hellbats do end up all unloading, though, and they just kill everything.
Wow.
That's just how this drop works, man.
That's his balls out right there. It's, you know, I don't even care. It's like, what's that? You got reinforcements, bring it on. But with 2 medevacs loaded up here, looks like they're finally going to go down. But man, that was a cost-effective trade. You got to see all the tech. Actually whittled down the numbers on that army, denied some mining. I say that was a success.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, Polar's worker count now ahead. The big thing, though, is that Polar, where is his 3rd CC, man? You know, he's going full out mech, like we mentioned. And like you said, he really wants to get that, you know, that gas count going. And right now, he can kind of get away with it. But once you start adding on more factories, you really want additional tank production. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. Now we see Top moving across the map, kind of saying, well, if you're going to sacrifice all those Hellions before, and those Hellbats, and those medevacs, I'm just going to go ahead for a big counterattack. Is Polar ready for this? Honestly, he really needs to get those tanks to the front, man. I'm a little scared for him.
Yeah, I agree. You know, we've got 3 medevacs here. There's the stem going right on up, targeting on the bunker. That's going to fall pretty fast. And now he can just kind of poke up here. Needs to get the tanks in better position, but they're too far back.
Yeah, a great trade for Top here, just taking out a lot of those Hellbats, and they weren't in very big numbers, you know, and he had a lot of Marauders as well, so he's able to trade pretty cost effectively there. The Vikings are actually going to take out one of the medevacs there. They do pull back, so Top doing a great job here, forcing mining off the natural for a bit here, but the tank count of Polar is going to be a little bit too good here, and he will be able to clean this up. And wow, additional command centers coming down for Top over here. So I think he feels comfortable with the fact that, you know what, you're stuck on just some tanks right now. I cleared out all your Hellbats.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to expand like crazy and start dropping you in a little bit.
No, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. He's got, well, he's going for Vikings right now. He knows that Polar also had Vikings, wants to make sure that he has the air superiority. So important when drops, like you said just a second ago, so essential on this map. But maybe Top is maybe overextending a little bit here because you're going for a mech army, which means the more bases you have, the scarier you are because it's about that gas, right? Got all of these, what are they called, factories going right now, building Hellbats, basically 4 at a time, and a little bit of lag there.
Wow, I really like this play from Top. He actually is smart enough to start building missile turrets in his natural, and when you're going bio against mech, your first thought isn't necessarily get missile turrets. You know, a lot of players either skimp on that or forget just because you're that more mobile army. But here comes Hellbats into the third base up top, and these are going to do a pretty decent amount of damage. Only 2 Marines here to defend is not going to be enough. Marauder now coming in to sort of help out. Top is going to take this opportunity to try and do a counterattack, but these Hellions have just done so much damage. One of them had 11 kills. He does get picked up, so that definitely does hurt, but with Top's additional orbitals, he will be able to mule up. Now dropping, like I said earlier, that won't be a possibility right now with Polar's pretty good Viking patrol going on over here, so nice nice defense overall. He's not going to get cracked. I mean, look at all those tanks right now. So Top's just going to do his best to keep Polar on 2 base for now.
Oh man, and now pushing out, that bio army is gone.
Top not really paying attention to his bio wall at all there. He could have saved all of those units without any issue at all, really, but just wasn't paying attention. Maybe was a little busy macroing at home and maybe dealing that Hellbat drop. I don't know if it was still going on, but either way, now we see a pretty damn scary push coming out from Polar. He has the way bigger army count here, and he has a lot of tanks and Hellbats, man. Now, once again, I'm scared for Top. This game's just going back and forth, man.
Oh, I don't know. It might shift here. Polar going in. He's going to leapfrog these siege tanks into position. Down goes those orbital commands, which, you know, didn't have any mining time on them, so basically a waste. Although he does get the scans from them in the mules, but not anymore. Down goes that one as well. But look at this. Top's army just going around, realizing this might be a base trade situation. Yeah,
so he's going to be able to cut off some of the reinforcements here. Not a bad idea. And he's actually making some Banshees out of his starports, and that could actually end up working out here. Look at the anti-air for Polar. It's pretty much non-existent right now, so these Banshees are actually going to be able to clean up these tanks very effectively, and at the same time, he's counterattacking into the natural of Polar. And you know what? These Banshees are just going to do so much damage right now. So a great decision from Top to actually get those Banshees.
Oh my gosh, 100 Seeker Vines going out. Wow. You don't see that very often.
Well, you know, in Heart of the Swarm, you do end up seeing it more just because you don't have to research that spell.
Yep.
So that's definitely nice. We do see Polar forced off of his natural here, but he's able to get enough reinforcements to sort of reclaim it. The main base of Top is now starting to get cleaned up as well. Banshees just so much damage. I mean, 4 and 5 kills each on these Banshees, but you have to realize most of those kills are tanks.
Yep.
So that's pretty damn valuable. We do see the Hellbats now, the last standing army for Polar inside of Top space. And they will get cleaned up before they can take out any production, it looks like. And wow, this game has been pretty wild already, man. Now we see Polar making some Widowmines, some Thors, so he's going to continue down his mech path. And we do see Top sort of reestablishing. So both players kind of saying, all right, man, that was pretty intense, but let's just chill out for a sec.
Yeah. I mean, I would have said earlier on that Top was in a better position initially, but it seems like he went too all in on his economic play. Decided, you know, I got all these minerals here, I don't have the infrastructure, we'll just build a bunch of command centers, we'll expand. Polar's not going to push out for a while, but you know what he did? He found that really nice timing to come through, and it brought him back into the game, but now things are evening up again. We do have, I believe this is the 4th base over here starting to mine for Top. If we take a look at the harvester count, though, this could be the game right here.
Yeah, I mean, Top just lost so many SCVs, but the thing is that he is getting his orbitals back up, and luckily he is going bio. And I mean, look at how many gas-intensive units he already has out on the field, so he doesn't have to worry too much. You know, he's got Ravens, he's got a nice Viking count. He doesn't really need to be making Vikings right now, so he can kind of stick to bio, just getting Marauders and Marines and a couple of medevacs here. So hopefully he can get his mineral count nice and high. We do see Polar already up to 9 Widow Mines. That's actually quite a lot, and you don't really see them in TVT all that often, especially, I mean, actually just in general, really, in TVT. So do you see Polar kind of establishing another base here? So he's looking pretty solid, and his supply, more importantly, is looking very, very solid. So now Top is definitely struggling just a bit to sort of catch back up.
Yeah, another thing, you look at Polar's army and the way it's positioned, his vision of the map right now is pretty much nothing. He has only detection and things around his bases, doesn't have that central noggin, and that is so important because if you don't have that, you have no idea when your opponent's going to be moving out against you.
Yeah, Top just kind of holding ground there with one Marauder like a badass there. He just doesn't really care, man. He's just posted up. We do see Polar actually establishing yet another base, and I mean, if this thing stays up for any length of time, Top is just going to fall wildly behind here. He is on 4 bases, but I mean, look at the saturations: 3 on minerals, 5 on minerals, just very, very bare on those bases. So he is doing a good job producing SCVs. He has been, you know, kind of staying relatively consistent with it, but still quite behind here, man. And this game has been pretty back and forth, but when all is said and done for now, it looks like, yeah, Polar sitting pretty comfy here.
Yeah, I would totally agree. He will be maxed out here very shortly if he does not have another engagement, but here comes a small bio ball.
Oh, God.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is going to get pushed back very quickly here. Does Polar have drilling claws? I don't believe he does. Just double check here. Yeah, no drilling claws on those Widow Mines. I don't know why, but that's just a pet peeve of mine, man.
Not getting it?
Yeah, it's just so good. We do see some aggression coming down. Actually, a Hellbat drop looks like it did do some damage. And another engagement going down. All those Widow Mines burrowing, and I mean, it's not really necessary, but they do a lot of damage either way. So yeah, it looks like Top is going to get pushed back here. He does still have a nice sizable army hanging out at, I guess you could call it his 3rd or his 4th with the barracks production. So he's doing solid to stay in the game here, but again, Top just sort of keeping that lead, or excuse me, Polar just keeping that lead for now.
You know, one thing we have here, if Polar loses these Thors, they're such a key unit right now in his army because it takes so long to get those back, and they eat up so much time on those factories. So Top could theoretically get back in this game very quickly if he were able to take out this mech army, even do a trade, because going bio just affords you that flexibility to get back. It's almost more Zerg-like in a way, but here we go. Oh my gosh, the armies just barely see each other, and here's engagement back from behind.
Oh, and the Vikings are actually going first. I love the PDDs coming down from Top. That's going to be pretty helpful here. And the tanks are now kind of shelling away. The Banshees are doing very well, and Top actually doing a pretty good job here taking out this army. I have to admit, I am pretty impressed with that engagement overall, and he honestly could have not have asked for anything better. Pretty much tying up the supplies there. And that was a bit of a shocker here. He actually hit right before +2 armor finished up for Polar's mech, and that definitely helped him out a lot. Luckily, Top's bio has been able to get +2 weapons, but it's on +0 armor, so they don't have that much durability. But luckily, man, he hit right before that +2 plating, was able to kind of shred through most of that army.
Yeah, one thing I noticed right there is that the bio ball, for some reason, wasn't stepping forward. If it had stemmed forward all the way up to that tank line, he would have lost quite a few less units. But here we go, a lot of SCVs, and Thor's getting caught. Marauders going in. Oh, focusing him down, but no, there he goes. He needs to focus down the Thors. There he goes.
Good engagements for Top. I cannot believe the comeback he's making right now. I mean, he did a great job in that last engagement, but to get 4 Thors right there was just a huge swing in Top's favor right now. And if you look at the worker counts, they've actually evened up. You know, he's been making those SCVs in the background. So Top is actually making a phenomenal comeback, and now he's in the lead at this point. The only thing that's not in his favor right now is the upgrade war, but You know, it won't really matter if he can just continue to produce a ton of Marauders and remax out on bio here.
Yeah, that's that thing with that mech army. It's big and expensive, and when you lose it, you can't get back to that critical mass unless you really do a lot of damage to your opponent's infrastructure and economy. And that's what we've seen from Top here. Top doesn't really have to worry because he can remax an army so much faster than Polar can.
He really just needs to find out about these other bases. If you look at his vision right now, Shane, he doesn't know about either of those side bases, so he just thinks he's in such a good position right now, but the fact is that Polar's economy is still really good. Now a Hellion drop at Top's third base is going to be able to roast some of those SCVs, but there weren't that many here to begin with, so the Hellions are actually not going to do that much damage. Top is able to clear those out. Now he's heading up into the natural. He's going to be clearing away some of those SCVs, kind of continuing his lead here, but he doesn't want to overextend into the main base. He cannot break into here. And like I was saying earlier, he really wants to find out about the side bases because if he does, man, he can just kill them, and that's kind of what you call checkmate at this point.
Yeah. Well,
But
for
we do
sure.
see-
Yeah, for sure, this mining base over here on the far right side going to be really critical. No defense except for one missile turret. But, oh no, look, Top just, like
Yeah.
you said, going straight into the natural with this bio army.
We also did see a Hellion run by from Polar, a much more successful one at the top center base of Top. That's where most of his SCVs were, and Polar was actually was able to whittle down that worker count from around 45 to 34, but another engagement in the natural. Top is taking out more Thors and more tanks. This is actually still a cost-effective engagement for him. He doesn't mind trading tanks for bio at this point, but I think he believes he's more ahead than he actually is right now. This game has been so back and forth, and to think that your meching player has taken more bases than you, or equal amount of bases, is kind of surprising. So he does see one of the bases. He does not see that other extremely lucrative base in the middle right, though. And I mean, that one is really the moneymaker.
Yeah, he's basically down to, it looks like, 2 and a little bit for mining bases. But look at this, at the top, one Hellion with barely
One
any
Hellion,
health,
man.
just roasting away.
There was a couple of SCVs like just kind of drilling it and just trying so hard, man. But with +2 playing, that Hellion's able to stay alive just a little bit longer. Another engagement. Now Top is actually dipping down in supply here. The harassment from Polar has whittled down Top's economy, and he just keeps on trading, but he doesn't see that base, man.
Yeah.
It's just so important, and now, I mean, Top has continued mining over here. The supply differential is almost entirely in workers, and so, I mean, that means that Top's army is still solid, but he really wants to get his economy back. He wants to get it roaring at this point. I mean, those Hellion drops are just being extremely annoying. We do see Top now falling back here. Still no knowledge of that middle right base, and the only reason I keep bringing it up is because as soon as he finds out about it, it's just such a big game changer.
Oh, man, and Polar just taking more bases. Look, he's got another command center getting started over here, so he'll effectively be on 3.5 bases, almost 4 here very shortly. Top starting to mine out, definitely mined out here at the natural and up in the main, so really only 2 bases right now for him.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a rough spot here. He is going to finish his +3 infantry weapons for his bio. So they still don't have much durability, but they are going to be able to at least dish out the damage that they need to sort of take out a mech composition. The question is are they going to be able to live long enough to do that? You do see Hellions now kind of coming across the map, taking the middle of the map, so Polar, you know, getting his army count up to a pretty reasonable size here. We do see Top now kind of pushing him back just a little bit. And he is going to be establishing another base, something that he really needs to do.
He should have done it probably about 5 or 6 minutes ago.
It would have helped, no
yeah.
doubt. Yeah, I mean, the Hellion drops and the Hellion run-bys from Polar have actually also significantly harmed his economy, so it's been twofold on that. And we do see it looks like Top is going to catch that command center. Yeah, he does actually catch that. So nice grab there. He knows it's there. He can go kill that whenever he pretty much feels like it at this point, and now he does throw a scan down.
He's going to go in, but that's a planetary fortress. Nothing really around it. The Hellions were going for a run-by at what would be the 4th base. They're on their way back now, diverted through the center, and it looks like with repairing that, will he be able to save it in time? No, he's going to go ahead and bring his army up around.
Seekers on all those tanks. They actually siege up, and nice hits. Actually takes out 3 siege tanks, perhaps a Hellbat or 2. And what did it cost? Just some energy. So actually a really nice engagement for top there. Now we do see a big Hellion run by. Gonna get caught by these Marauders. Very nice. And top actually with 2 big moves in a row here, stopping this Hellion run by and killing that base. Actually spoke a little too soon. It looks like these Hellions are still gonna get by here and do some pretty decent damage.
Oh man, that could have been so good for top if he had just, or I'm sorry, for Polar if he had just continued kind of just running them by, but a little indecisive there about what to do.
So yeah, a few key decisions there made from top is going to put him once again sort of back in a questionable lead. I would say it's still slightly in edge of Polar, but those are the kind of moves that he needs to be making to stay him. So now that base should be coming up pretty soon here. The SCV actually that was creating it did get sniped by a Hellion, so a nice delay tactic from Polar. He still has a decent amount of bases here. That one in the bottom left will be cleaned up by a little task force, and this game, man, it will go on.
Man, I am really, really scared of Polar's army right now. 167 out of 200. If you take a look here, pretty much mostly all mech, almost maxed out on full mech. Got the +3 going, the +2. Look at the bio army here. Yeah, he's got +3, but he's got no armor. He's completely neglected that upgrade, and his air units here as well, only with +1 armor.
Yeah, and I'm kind of shocked at the amount of Hellbats that Polar has. I mean, I don't know if I've seen somebody make that many Hellbats, especially in a TVT mech composition. So I'm actually really curious to see how the final engagement goes. I mean, is having that many Hellbats actually going to be good? And we do see Hunter Seekers going down at the natural of Polar. All of these tanks are going to take some big hits, but none of them actually go down, and he really needs to do one more before the SCVs get the repair off, and there he goes. Does actually end up getting 3 of those 4 tanks, but Polar's unstoppable looking army continues to barrel through. It's gonna hit the natural over here, and top just doesn't really have the answer. I feel like just so many Hellbats, so many tanks, man. I'm not sure if this will be cleaned up right now.
Oh man, I think that is the death's cry from top there. He just turned his army around, decided not to go for the base trade. He's been killed so many times at that ramp. Decided to turn around. I think that may have just lost him the game.
I mean, I don't know if he was in a position where he could have won it either way. I mean, look at how many tanks are still in Polar's natural, so he would have definitely taken a tough trade there. So instead, he's going to sort of try and section this off, using 200 Seekers on 1 tank. Not ideal energy use at this point, but it's his only choice. We do see Hellbats just absolutely destroying the main base up top here, and the production that he has otherwise is pretty minimal, but can make some Marauders, and that's what he's doing right now. Look at all those Hunter Seekers, though. All of those tanks actually may take some pretty severe damage here, and now a big stiffment from the Marauders are actually going to kill those tanks very, very quickly, and it's going to be just Hellbats left over, and this is what I was kind of curious to see here. Marauders up against just Hellbats. They're doing pretty decent overall, but the Hellbats, man, since they have 3-3, they are cleaning up those Marauders that have just no armor.
I don't think I've seen Hellbats at 3-3 because they're just not usually around, it seems like, in the final composition. But yeah, they're definitely scary. Here comes some Hellions. They're going to get taken down, just cruising through. Polar trying to just, you know, kiss of death, just finish off the economy here for top. Doesn't really care about losing those because he's so secure right now on all of these bases, pretty much uncontested, with what top has left. 70 of 70 supply, so double the supply right now, and still charging through plenty of units up in the main of top.
Yeah, this is pretty much, I mean, if top is able to clean up this army cost effectively, and looks like some Hunter Seekers are going to go off on those Hellbats, and 1 on the Viking actually, but it's just not going to be enough. I mean, top has no mining going on, whereas Polar, I mean, he is just mining like a beast right now. His production tab is SCVs, Hellions, Thors. Top's production tab, 1 lone sad SCV just sort of trying to make its way out. So that kind of tells the story here. Top has just been kind of worn down, man. That's pretty much all there is to it. Polar now, look at this. He's even doing a cute little tactic here where he's shelling the 3rd base of top, just kind of adding insult to injury here.
Yeah, I think this is going to probably be it. Top, kind of insurmountable odds, because even if he does take out this mining base, there's so many others, and then the production facilities are so well protected by the tanks in the natural. It's it's kind of looking like this may be it. Now down to 57 supply, 100 supply down. But I will say he has put up a great fight in this game too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Polar, a previously cheesy player, as coordinator said, I mean, just playing a phenomenal macro mech here, and he takes the win 2-0 for UC Irvine. UC San Diego, man, I don't know, maybe they don't think this game matters or something, but they are not winning right now.
Oh, man. Well, there you go. Taking a look at that, that brings us to 2-0 UCI over UCSD. This is the round of 8, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump right into the next game in the series, so please stay tuned.